What is up, my brothers? A woman wants to know why men aren't wifing up ladies nowadays. First, a ton of folks gripe about the condition of the intimacy commercial center for them today, and these are a portion of the short clips just to sort of get this show on the road. Things like there's not much that ladies bring to the table. They have no culinary or generally female abilities that they're accustomed to finding in their moms or grandmas. For instance, being able to prepare a decent dinner. They grumble a ton about most ladies offer kids from earlier relationships, marriages, and once in a while different dads. The qualification circumstance is something that I hear a ton of grievances from folks too, where they see ladies with lots of beta orbiters around them via online entertainment, particularly like Instagram and Snapchat too. They're acting in an attention-hunting way. They're fundamentally not posting normal pictures, but physically provocative pictures searching for the consideration and preferences of different men. Those are only a beginning stages of some sort. This is to answer this lady's solicitation. For what reason aren't men wifing up the women any longer? She was asking from that point onward, what can be done about it? I'll manage what can be done for the women's part towards the end. But the lawful outcomes of marriage in the present climate are radical to such an extent that it is restrictive for some men to try and consider wifing someone up. The issue with it is all the more explicitly has got more to do with the Western world versus different spots like Asia, Eastern Europe, or Russia, for instance. Assuming that there's folks watching this from those zones, let us in the remarks what that resembles for you too. The manner in which family regulation has sort of advanced and developed after some time has transformed into a situation where it's exceptionally high gamble and low compensation for men. That is again one of the grievances folks have as well, the sexless marriage. It's like that is somewhat to fault on men's shoulders, yet additionally, ladies. Family regulation has really arrived at the point sensibly where it's exceptionally high gamble for men with low prize, but high compensation for ladies, particularly to end it. Something like 8 out of 10 divorces are started by ladies, not men, and we realize that about a half of marriages end in divorce. On the off chance that you get into a wedding situation, it doesn't need to be marriage. It tends to be customary regulation. In the event that you live respectively lengthy enough in many pieces of the Western world, the state considers that a customary marriage. They view it essentially on the books as a marriage, and they'll regard it thusly in the event that you separate. This leads over to the next part that men gripe about. For what reason would it be advisable for me to get hitched when I see such countless folks losing admittance to their children, and all they wind up doing is discharging out their check, sending it over to their ex, and afterward seeing how seriously they are getting distanced from their own kids. It's known as the separation machine and separation assault on purpose. Men are staying away from it deliberately and keenly, and I don't know whether there's a response or a method for exploring that. How would you satisfy that organic basic to pass on your seed? Men are evolutionally intended to dissipate seeds, while ladies on the contrary side are transformative, intended to look for the most noteworthy provisioning, most noteworthy worth male they can secure. Those are two distinct elements. However, back to the family regulation. Unfortunately for men, it's really dumb according to any viewpoint for a person to live in a manner that is seen as a wedding plan by the state. A portion of the short clips that you'll hear folks say are, for what reason could you permit yourself to get into a situation that permits the state to conclude what befalls your resources, your month-to-month pay, and your admittance to your kids? The other piece of that will be that family regulation is written so as to not boost ladies to act in a fair way or in a way that is to the greatest advantage of the kids. Family regulation is intended to permit ladies to enhance their hypergamous nature on the exit. It is essentially expressed that they're continuously focusing on security, they're a sidelong arrangement, or something better than whatever they're at the present moment. I was, in 2 or 3 weeks prior, working and from a certain point, and I heard 2 ladies who were talking, and one of them shared with the other who was thinking about getting divorced. She appears in a fresh out-of-the-plastic new Range Rover, drops off the children at the everyday schedule. She gets together with a girlfriend to talk plan her separation, and the short clip that emerged from it that I heard is completely sickening. It was something as per, "Young lady, you can take half of his property, have a decent monthly pay, the vehicle, the house, and not need to tolerate his moronic a hole." Assuming that that offers a tad of knowledge for you to provide you with a tad of understanding, that is the means by which a few ladies check this thing out. I know there will be women out there guaranteeing not all ladies are that way, and that is not the way in which their separation ended. That is fine, that could occur occasionally as well, yet in view of the elements of the intimacy commercial center and the manner in which people pair bond, men will generally find themselves mixed up with situations where they find lovely ladies and the ladies wind up wedding dependent upon them. Significance, their one or two focuses above them when they get hitched, but when the exit occurs, that should be kept up with. So in the event that she's down here being a hairstylist, and she weds him and gets up there for various years, he must keep up with that way of life for her. She doesn't return down to where she was. That is fundamentally the end story why men are keeping away from marriage. There's a great deal of folks that need to get hitched. I've heard various folks in remarks informing me that they are attempting to track down ways of fulfilling the organic basic of passing on your seed, and they really can't figure out how to make it happen. They either date or connect on a restricted premise. A few people go all out on mgtow, where they'll simply purchase close dolls, and that fulfills their necessities. It's extreme, and that is only how things are. That is somewhat it. That is truly the thing that it comes down to by the day's end. That organic basic is challenging for men to satisfy, and ladies aren't making a difference with evolving it. So if you somehow happen to take a gander at it this way, when the white Europeans came to North America and they began participating in the native individuals, they appeared with flintlocks rifles, Gatling firearms, guns, current conflict-making innovation, and they met a clan of individuals who were managing lances, blades, bows, and bolts. Do you think the Europeans thought, well, this is unreasonable, we should simply change things? That is truly why things won't change. Ladies enjoy the benefit in an intimacy commercial center, particularly on the exit on separation, and the main way things will improve or men will be boosted to fix those things is in the event that ladies begin taking care of business. Men have been pursuing it for quite a while. There's these MRA folks, the men's privileges activists, and they've not exactly moved the bar that much. I don't contradict the perceptions, and they've made a decent school attempt. However, we haven't seen things change that much. I believe nothing will change in the course of my life at any rate, or those of you that are watching at present. In assessment, I see things deteriorating. We see situations now where men are being pointed at and considered responsible for activities, like say you're a top-level salary procuring man and you put your wife or residing sweetheart on a budget, or something to that effect. You convey a specific measure of cash to her month to month. We're beginning to see situations where men are being managed as monetary maltreatment, where they're being censured for mishandling their spouses by putting them on a careful spending plan, which is totally crazy. Anyway, how would you change things, women? It's on you now. It's gotten where harmful women's rights has gone from being something that settled orientation uniformity, which I comprehend ought to have happened ages ago, where ladies needed to cast a ballot and have vehicles and have occupations and everything, fine. Presently they have that, yet I think each development needs to reach a conclusion, or it needs to arrive at its goal. The issue with women's liberation is it has now transformed into a harmful variant, where it's currently a matchless quality development, dead set on, in a real sense, obliterating the Western world. I was never more humble than when my legal counselor told me, "You would rather not go to court on the off chance that you are a man. You will lose." That is something lowering that came to me when I was profoundly respected in my industry. My organizations were really fruitful hyper-development periods, got this multitude of grants, and afterward I get smacked across the face as a result of a few regulations that wrecked me and discouraged me.